Happy Monday, guys. It's Ben here from BH Aquatics. Hope you guys are having a great week so far. No video yesterday. Reason for it coming out today, I was skiing and I was up a little late last night. Didn't have time to come out with one, so I just decided I'd do it today just so that I didn't mess up the schedule any more than I did last year, because I did get off track quite a bit. Anywho, let's hop right into the topic of today's video, which is setting up your first aquarium. Now you're probably saying, Ben, you've been doing this channel for 2 years. Why would you do a how-to on setting up your first aquarium now? Well, very good question. Actually, I was thinking about it the other day and I was like, wow. I've been doing YouTube for about 2 years now. I'm starting my 3rd year on completely fish stuff, and I have never done a how-to on setting up your own fish tank, yet I'm surrounded in this fish room by fish tanks. Sure, I did a how to set up a breeding tank, how to set up a nano tank, but I never did anything specifically for those beginner fish keepers that want to get into the hobby and set up maybe a small 5 or 10 gallon tank just with decorations, with some substrate. Just make it look really fun and cool so that you can have a nice community tank maybe in your living room or your dining room, kitchen, whatever you want. Personally, I have no idea why I have waited this long to make it, but without further ado, let's get right into the video. Alrighty guys, so just a quick overview of the equipment you're going to need for this setup. Obviously you're going to need your tank. I'm preferably using a 10-gallon tank just because even though that I am setting this up just for fun, eventually it will turn back into a breeding tank. But for the moment it will be just set up for fun as your first aquarium styled fish tank. Then you're going to need some form of lighting. I'm using this 20-inch hood lamp. The tank is only 18 inches long, so obviously you can see the 1 inch coming out from either side. I don't have anything shorter than that, but if you guys wanted to find one, you could definitely find it in your local department store and get a light for them. They're very cheap, 18 inches, 20 inches, and right above me I have a 48-inch shining down on the whole fish room. But anywho, you also are going to need a heater, depending in-tank heater, 5 to 15 gallon heater, depending on what size tank you have. 5 to 15 obviously will handle 5 to 15 gallons of aquarium space. You're going to want larger. If you get a larger aquarium, for instance, like my 30 gallon or my 55, I need a 55 to a 75 gallon heater for that, and a 15 to 45 gallon heater for my 30 gallon BioCube. But also for filtration, you're going to want some sort of hang-on filter, different things like that. Sponge filters are more recommended for people that are trying to breed on a large scale like I'm attempting to do. Not really something that I would recommend for a first-time aquarium keeper, just because it's going to take a little bit of work, a little bit of extra chore that you may not have time to do during your work week. And if you're young, you might not have the attention span to actually keep on cleaning them every time that they get dirty. I know at least I wouldn't, so obviously if there's those kids out there who do have that attention span, lucky you. I definitely didn't back in my day. Not that I'm that old, but anywho, that's basically all you're going to need for main equipment. So what you're looking at right now is a bucket of the black substrate that I'm actually going to be using. I actually fill it up with water just because every time that you get new substrate for your aquarium, no matter if you're a beginner or if you're an advanced fish keeper, you always want to rinse out the substrate just because you never know what types of contaminants could be in the sand from manufacturing processes, from packaging processes. You just want to make sure it's all out so that you have the healthiest tank after your tank is set up and cycled a couple of weeks. So that's very important. Just make sure that you empty all the water out of the rinsing bowl, or in my case rinsing bucket, just because obviously you don't want any of that cleaning water to get inside of the tank either, just because that could contaminate the tank as well. Added onto that, the benefit of rinsing out your substrate, especially if it's a sandy substrate like mine, is that when it goes into the tank, then it will sink to the bottom right away, rather than as you fill up the tank, the sand will not rise with the water level. Alrighty, so just to make the filming of this video easier, as you can see, I already poured in the substrate myself. and I turned on the hood lamp. I believe that's what it's called. I don't know exactly, don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure you can find these under hood lamp. Right now, that's all that's really going to have to happen is you can use your hand if your dad or your mom or some person that you know is a pro aquascaper and they have the aquascaping tools, use that. Whatever you can find to spread out the substrate on the ground of the bottom of the aquarium the way that you want to do it will work just fine for spreading out substrate. But after that, it's as simple as filling it up, putting direct decorations in. You can do decorations when it's halfway filled. So let's get to spreading the substrate and we'll get to the rest of the video. So now that I've gotten the substrate all laid out the way that I want it to, it's time to put in the decorations. And I've always been kind of the plain Jane kind of person, so I just have like this monument that I used to have in one of my old aquariums that I had set up when the only tank I had was the BioCube. So literally that's all I'm going to do is just put it into the aquarium. It doesn't need to be perfect, guys. I'm going to be so honest with you. It doesn't need to be perfect. You can mess around with it however you want. That's what makes setting up your first aquarium like one of the most fun things. This is a great experience for me just because I haven't done this in a really long time, just having fun with an aquarium like a kid again, because this entire past few years has all been about breeding. Sure, it's always fun to learn how to breed and different things like that, but just switching it up, doing something different like this is really awesome too. Alrighty guys, so looking at the aquarium, it's all set up. We have it all filled up. My plain Jane little decoration in the middle. We have the filter and the heater hanging on the back. Those two are right now suction cups to the back left hand corner of the aquarium. If it gives you a challenge when you're trying to suction cup them to the walls of your aquarium, just get them wet. Fill up the aquarium first, submerge them, get them wet, and it should be extremely easy to suction cup them after that, because it gives it more suctioning force. I'm not really sure, but it does work. Something that's asked a lot of times is why do the wires coming from the heaters and filters go into the aquarium, if that could cause an electric damage or something like that. I'm not really sure how to put it, but the question basically is asking if it's okay that that's occurring. Is it okay that these cords are going under the water, that they're being submerged under the water? It's absolutely fine. These devices are built to be submerged. They are fully submersible devices, and it will not cause any damage to your electrical outlets or your aquarium in that same face, or to the fish at all. It's really not that big of a deal. But other than that, stocking your aquarium, that's the next most important thing. Obviously, once you have everything running, you have your light running, your heater, your filter. Obviously, my filter's not running just because I'm going to exchange it for my sponge filter, since I'm going to turn this into some sort of a breeding aquarium. Stocking is pretty simple. You recommended, since smaller tank, especially, well, I don't know how big you guys are setting it up, but assuming that you guys are setting up a relatively same size as I am, around a 10 gallon, maybe even a 5 gallon or 15, live bears are recommended. You can really keep any type of tropical fish in here, just as long as they don't exceed the size of 3 to 4 inches, and you don't put ones that do max out at 3 to 4 inches in groups of 3 or more. The inch of fish per gallon, so in my case 10 inches of fish per this 10 gallon tank, I really don't run by that, obviously, because I'm a breeder. At most I'll have 50 fish in a 10 gallon tank at a time, and it's never given me any big problems. So I think you guys can pull it off as long as you follow in those certain guidelines that I said earlier. It really doesn't make that much bigger of a deal if you do have a larger number of live bears, just because they can be smaller, but just make sure that it's not getting too overcrowded in the aquarium. Overall, it's pretty simple to set up your first aquarium. Obviously, I don't have much aesthetic appeal to mine, but you guys can do a lot more with yours. I hope this is beneficial to those of you who wanted to see a video on setting up your first aquarium. It's always a pleasure for me to set something up like this, because it's not something that I'm doing on a regular basis due to the fact that obviously I have all my breeding setups with dull setups, nothing really special about any of them. This one, even though that it is a pretty plain Jane setup, I'm probably going to add plants to the, just plant some plants in the substrate later on, just to spice it up a little bit. So, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. If so, make sure you like, subscribe, and thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next Sunday.